Wait, before you panic about that Social Security deadline, you need to hear this, because one small mistake could cost you your personal information. In the next minute, I'll explain what's really going on and how to stay safe so you don't get tricked online. If you want simple alerts that protect you and your money, hit subscribe and stay with me. You're scrolling late at night, maybe after dinner, maybe half watching the news or a short video, and suddenly a bold message flashes across your screen saying, "Urgent Social Security update, take this step before February 19th to secure your payments," and instantly your chest tightens, because whether you rely on retirement, disability, or supplemental income, those payments are not just numbers on a statement. They are groceries, rent, medication, electricity, and peace of mind. So your brain does exactly what scammers hope it will do. It jumps straight to fear and skips straight past logic. And that's the moment this entire story begins, because the truth is, the message is designed like a trap, a psychological trigger built to override calm thinking. And once you understand how it works, you'll never panic over messages like this again. Imagine you are someone receiving Social Security benefits and you hear there is a deadline tomorrow, not next month, not sometime soon, but tomorrow. And immediately your mind creates a crisis scenario where the payment stops, the bank balance drops to zero, automatic bills bounce, and you're left calling offices you can't reach. And that fear makes the message feel real even if there's no evidence. And scammers rely on that emotional shortcut more than any technology they use, because fear moves faster than facts. The real agency that handles benefits, the Social Security Administration, does not operate like a countdown bomb. They don't suddenly decide millions of people must verify something within hours or lose income, because government systems move slowly, sometimes frustratingly slowly, and any change affecting payments would involve mailed letters, repeated announcements, and clear timelines measured in weeks or months. Not a random internet alert telling you to act immediately before midnight. Yet the message feels convincing because it mixes real words with fake urgency, using the names SSA, SSI, and SSDI, which are familiar enough to bypass skepticism, but vague enough to avoid being technically specific. Think about the structure of the warning itself. The phrase urgent update implies a new rule, the date creates pressure, and the instruction to take this step suggests a hidden action you must discover by clicking. And every part is crafted to move you from reading to reacting without pausing to verify, because verification breaks scams. Now picture a typical day inside a real benefits office. Forms processed, records updated, letters printed, notices logged, and every communication documented, because if payments were truly at risk, there would be a paper trail, not a surprise internet alert. And the difference between official communication and viral panic is documentation versus drama. People often ask why scammers choose benefits programs as targets, and the answer is painfully simple. Stability equals trust, and trust can be exploited, and retirees or disabled individuals may fear losing the one dependable income they have. So the attacker doesn't need technical hacking, they just need emotional leverage. You might notice how these alerts spread, first appearing in a dramatic video, then reposted on social media, then forwarded in family chats with someone saying, "Just in case this is real, do it quickly." And that phrase, "just in case," is the fuel that keeps misinformation alive, because humans would rather act unnecessarily than risk losing security. Yet scammers know that hesitation disappears when people believe a clock is ticking. The irony is the actual system almost never works overnight. Changes require announcements, and agencies cannot legally terminate benefits without notice, review, and appeal opportunities, meaning a sudden final day deadline would violate procedure, and therefore the urgency itself is proof of deception. Sometimes the message asks you to verify identity, sometimes to confirm banking details, sometimes to sign into a lookalike portal, and each variation aims at the same outcome, your personal information, because data is currency and fear is the fastest payment method. When someone clicks, they land on a page resembling government branding, maybe an eagle seal, maybe patriotic colors, maybe official-sounding language, and familiarity lowers defenses. Yet a closer look reveals subtle differences, like unusual web addresses, spelling quirks, or requests for details never required online. But by then, the emotional decision has already happened. The reason this kind of alert resurfaces repeatedly is that it works, not because it is believable in a logical sense, but because it is believable in an emotional sense, and humans process threat before analysis, a survival instinct from ancient times now exploited in digital space. There's also a psychological trick called authority borrowing, where scammers attach themselves to recognized institutions to inherit credibility, so they don't need to prove authenticity, they only need to imitate it, and a familiar acronym can be enough. Many people wonder whether ignoring such a message could be risky. What if this one time it's true, and that doubt is exactly what the message wants? But reality offers a simple rule. Real government agencies communicate consistently across multiple channels, not through a single viral alert, and any legitimate update would appear on official announcements long before a social media countdown. Another key sign is the demand for immediate action, because real agencies provide time for compliance and appeal, while scammers eliminate thinking time, compressing decisions into minutes. Imagine millions of beneficiaries required to act by tomorrow. Phone lines would crash, offices overwhelmed, news outlets flooded. Yet silence outside viral posts reveals the truth. Absence of widespread official coverage means absence of real emergency. The watchdog responsible for fraud warnings, the Social Security Office of Inspector General, repeatedly explains that criminals impersonate benefit authorities to steal identities, and they rely on people believing the message arrived through an official channel rather than recognizing it arrived through uncontrolled online sharing. One of the most powerful protections is simply slowing down, because urgency is the scammer's oxygen. Remove the rush and the manipulation suffocates. And when you take a moment to independently check information instead of following provided links, the illusion collapses. It helps to remember that institutions cannot secure your payments through secret steps hidden in random videos. Security procedures are standardized and documented, not surprise missions you must discover before midnight. Consider also how dates are chosen, often close enough to feel immediate yet arbitrary enough to avoid verification. And after the day passes, the rumor fades until a new date appears, recycling the same fear with a fresh calendar number, proving the deadline was never real to begin with. You might notice how the language often avoids specifics like case numbers, mailing references, or personalized identifiers because scammers send the same script to everyone, and personalization would require real data they don't have yet, so they push you to provide it voluntarily. There's a deeper lesson here about digital literacy. Modern threats rarely break systems. They persuade people to open doors themselves, making awareness the strongest defense. Think about how many similar alerts exist across banks, taxes, shipping services, each one claiming immediate suspension unless you act, and all share the same structure. Authority plus urgency plus secrecy equals compliance. The message about securing payments before February 19th fits perfectly into that pattern. And once you see the pattern, you can spot future attempts instantly regardless of wording. Instead of reacting emotionally, the safest response is routine verification through official channels you locate yourself, not links handed to you, because control over the destination equals control over safety. People often feel embarrassed after realizing they nearly fell for a scare message, but there's no shame in instinctive concern over income security. The design targets basic human survival worries, and recognizing the manipulation is a skill learned over time. The next time a dramatic update appears, pause and imagine the logistics required if it were true. Millions notified individually, formal notices archived, support staff prepared, and compare that to a single viral alert. The mismatch exposes the deception. Another revealing clue is tone. Official communication aims for clarity, not adrenaline, while scams use alarmist language to bypass rational thought, and phrases like act now or lose benefits are emotional triggers rather than administrative language. Over time, these warnings spread because people care about protecting each other, ironically helping the scam reach wider audiences. Yet sharing without verification transforms concern into unintended amplification. The most empowering realization is that your benefits do not depend on secret online steps discovered through random alerts. They depend on established records and formal processes, and no overnight internet instruction can override that structure. Imagine how different your reaction feels after understanding this. Instead of panic, you feel curiosity. Instead of rushing, you investigate. and the message loses power because its only weapon was urgency. This awareness turns a frightening headline into a predictable script, and predictable threats are manageable threats. So when you encounter a claim demanding action before a specific date to secure SSA, SSI, or SSDI payments, you now recognize the emotional engineering behind it, a manufactured deadline designed to capture attention, harvest information, and disappear once challenged. The best protection is calm verification, independent access to official information, and refusal to surrender data under pressure, because security is built on procedure, not panic. By slowing down, you protect not only yourself but others you warn, replacing fear with knowledge, and knowledge spreads just as effectively as rumors when shared clearly. The internet rewards speed, but safety rewards patience, and the few seconds you take to question urgency can prevent months of identity theft recovery. In the end, the message says act before February 19th, but the real instruction is the opposite. Do not rush, do not click, do not fear, because genuine institutions do not communicate through countdown threats, and understanding that transforms an alarming warning into a simple example of how modern scams try to hijack trust and how easily that attempt fails once you see the design behind it.